the brotherhood from special operations or from law enforcement or from from business, I'm sure, comes from when people have your back for no other reason but to have your back.
Welcome to the F&G podcast, where the Green Beret trains an F&G with
Buck, the Green Beret.
And KDH. I am truly the F&G. Buck, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, how you feeling?
I feel good, man. You know, there's so many great things that are going on in the world. We actually kind of getting out there and playing football again with my boys, and so their season started, and so many kids are not getting to play, but I think it's going to be, what a great segue, because we're going to talk about teamwork today.
Yep.
And really being a team player, and what that looks like, going all the way back to selection. We'll talk a little business as well, but share with me a little bit, when someone's entering the selection process and working to become special forces, whatever it may be, becoming a Green Beret, there's some errors and some things, really attitudes that F&Gs can bring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what's one of the most detrimental is just how they view themselves in this process.
So to me, like the most detrimental, everyone knows, this is what we were talking about earlier, is like everyone knows you got to be a team player in selection.
Right.
I mean,
you can't get through it alone.
Right. There's a whole week called Team Week. So in some aspect, in some form, you have to be a team player, but a lot of people misconstrue how to do that. And that goes from selection to the Q course to my team in law enforcement. You have guys and girls that are just great at it, and they have that self-awareness. And then some people, they're just so confused as to what being a team player really is.
So do you think they really don't know what they're doing, or you think they're playing a game?
I think they're playing a game.
Yeah.
And then the problem is that they think everyone's buying their bullshit.
Okay.
And that's where the frustration comes in for actual team players. Because in selection, as what we were talking about earlier, is like in selection, you have the cadre watching you, and you want to impress that guy. So he looks at you, and all of a sudden you're like, now you're shoving your hands into the apparatus and trying to tie some knots. And, before you're trying to relax and drink some water and, take some time to yourself, but now he's watching. Mm-hmm. So now you're trying to help out, or you're asking, oh, hey man, you need some help? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
We know you're doing that. We know you're doing it because he's watching. Or, another thing is people have these ulterior motives, and they think that we as a team don't recognize your ulterior motive. And, I think that's a common thing that happens on small teams.
Well, when you see someone on your team who is doing that and really, showboating,
mm-hmm.
Trying to put themselves, in front of the team for the cadre or whomever.
Right.
What kind of energy does that bring to you and to the rest of the team? What does that do to the morale of everybody else?
Oh, it brings everybody down. And it's like, you just made yourself not on the team. You're not on the team. The success of the team has just become about you and your aspirations and your goals. Failing to realize that if you would just come together and focus on the team, we will all get there faster because we're all more powerful together. But you are so focused on putting yourself in the limelight, and it's like you miss what being a team player is all about. And then we all come down with you, and we start if the team's likely more united, because the majority of people that make it to those small teams, they get it.
Yeah.
But there's always that one or two that make it that are just still don't understand.
They just don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, and what can happen is that someone can have that attitude, that performance, and then they can have success. They can literally have some small successes, and because they have the small successes, they kind of think it's okay to do it,
mm-hmm.
and they are so unaware of what's going on with the team.
That's a good point.
And when that happens, then when the real shit hits the fan, and we really have to be a team, and it has to be everybody in lockstep, now things fall apart.
Yeah, because we don't trust you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that happened. There's so many instances where that happened, but let's say one example in selection, there was one of the events. I went to get water, and I was last to get back to. I wasn't late or anything, but I was last to get back to the apparatus, which at that point was a Jeep with only 3 tires. And someone has to be in the driver's position.
I mean, I've never been in the military, so I don't know. Three-wheel Jeeps, is that kind of a common thing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fun little joke that they like to do with in selection. So someone has to drive the Jeep. Well, everyone else is pushing a Jeep in sand with 3 wheels.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there just chilling, you know?
Right.
And so I come back and they're like, hey, man, you got to drive. Everyone else has a spot already on the Jeep. And I was like, are you guys serious? And they're like, dude, someone's got to do it. I was like, all right, fine. So we're driving, and it's like we're coasting downhill, so it's pretty chill. I'm telling jokes, trying to keep everyone kind of lighthearted and having a good time. And then all of a sudden, the death hill shows up, and it's just like it's super steep. It's like half foot of sand.
Okay.
And I was like, let me out.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, dude, it'll take too long to switch out. I was like, nope. I jumped out. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not letting you guys. You already pushed me like 2 miles to get to I'm not letting you push me up that hill.
Yeah.
And the guy, because there's 2 teams, the guy next to me stayed in the driver's seat, and he let him push him up the hill. And he didn't get selected. So it's like in that moment, I knew, deep down, I knew what the right thing to do was. Even though there's no part of me wanted to push that fucking Jeep up that sand hill.
Right.
And the team's giving me an out. They're like, dude, it helps us if you just stay in there.
Yeah.
But come on, man, we know the right answer.
Yeah. And there are those times, man, you just got to bite the bullet and you check your ego and, to put the team once again, in front of ourselves. So when you've had those situations, what do you do with someone, that you clearly feel that that they just want the spotlight shown on them and it's hurting the team?
Yeah.
Like how I'm thinking back to the good old days, when we watched the movie A Few Good Men, there's a code red, is there something that as a unit, as a team that you do to kind of try to draw someone back in?
Well, that's tricky because it depends on the person. So I could think of 2 people in mind specifically, one from the military, one from law enforcement. And what they did was they made themselves so invaluable that you could not pull them back and put them in their place. They made themselves like attached to the leadership. And I forget that book. I'm trying to think of it now. But it goes into that. It's like you need to make yourself such an asset that you're just not replaceable. So these 2 in particular did that, and they did that by picking a niche and being absolutely dedicated to that niche. But this is where their lack of team player would come in. They wouldn't teach anyone any of it. So they got their nuts and they hoarded them, and they would not share the information. So that's when the team starts realizing like, hey, this is something fucked up here.
Yeah.
Like, you're really good at this, and you don't want to show me how to do it. Why? So those 2, I mean, it sucks to say it, but there's not much you could do about that because the leadership's not going to get rid of someone who is that good at their niche, right? Because the niche essentially is helping the team. But if that person's not intellectually advanced enough to realize that if you're going to be that way, then you have to make yourself irreplaceable, then you're going to have a hard lesson coming to you, and it's either going to be an ass chewing or an ass whooping, but something's got to happen to change that person or get rid of them.
Well, and when you have someone who is so skilled in one area that, they become indispensable in that, what happens when they get injured? What happens if they get sick? What happens if they can't perform? What happens, if there's not a backup? You guys would say, 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
Right.
And so if we don't have a backup for this, how effective are we going to be?
Right.
I from a business standpoint, I remember Gretchen, my wife, people would ask her, questions about, business and, that maybe I was a little more the face of our business, and she would take care of the back office stuff. And really where the real work was done was her getting the things done back there. And I remember someone asking her one time and saying, how come you don't ever get the credit for it? How come it's this? And I remember she had a brilliant statement. She goes, listen, I want the cash, not the credit.
Yeah.
She was like, show me the money.
Right.
And while the accolade, he can have the trophies or whatever.
I know where my priorities are.
Yeah. But, and I think understanding that as a team, we will move faster, more effectively as a team, hit our targets, hit our objectives, both in business and in the military as well.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because when you see somebody that's helping you, whether someone's watching or not, you want to pull them along as far and as fast as you can. And that's what they don't understand. I think Jordan Peterson talks about the golden goose. It's like you want that golden egg so bad that you kill the goose and cut it out of it. And it's like, you idiot.
Yeah.
When the goose is the team is providing you all the golden eggs. Every career advancement you will ever want is coming from the goose, and that's being a team player, that's working together, that's helping each other out. And that thing will just keep pumping out success after success for you. But the minute you get so focused on you and you have to have it, then yeah, you will destroy the team to get that one next best thing because you think that's going to be the tipping point for your success. And it's never going to be.
Well, the short-sightedness that people have in this is that there is a level of success that they will have.
Yeah.
And they may actually even have it faster than some of the other people on the team. But the long-term success,
right,
the ultimate success, they're going to really miss out on.
Yep.
And, the easiest comparison, I think, for me in sports is like looking at baseball. How is it you can have this unbelievable, hitter who hits 400 one season, but the team doesn't even make it to the playoffs. But you have a team that really works together. They make it through the playoffs, win the World Series. You got a ton of great accolades for yourself, but you didn't win the ultimate prize.
Right.
And how detrimental that is. And long term, what are you going to do when your career is over? You're going to be patting yourself on the back with, I hit 400 this year, or you want to be talking about the big ring that you're wearing because you won the championship.
Absolutely.
So, there's so many applications to this and just being a great team player. So let's flip the script a little bit and let's talk about what it looks like to be a great team player and even going through selection because, selection is exactly what it says. It's about selecting the elite of the elite. And, there can be some big, strong athletes that come in here and people that look like they got all their shit together. Mm-hmm. But, man, you ain't getting through it alone.
Right.
Talk to us a little bit about selection, why it's so important to be a great team player.
Yeah, so just like you said, there's nothing you're doing that's getting you through it. Besides the PT test when you first get there, and obviously the physical requirements, but that's just a come play. I mean, you're not in the game yet. So you get through that alone, and then after that, everything's about the team. Mm-hmm. And, carrying an apparatus like down pilot, I can't even imagine what the thing weighed, but it was I felt legitimately like my hips were going to blow out the sides. Like every step I was like, it's going to pop now. Oh, maybe this one. No, maybe this one. And it just kept going. But the brotherhood from special operations or from law enforcement or from from business, I'm sure, comes from when people have your back for no other reason but to have your back. And that's a powerful feeling. And you know it if you felt it. And I'm sure even the people that are out doing looking out for themselves, they probably have someone in their life, I imagine, that no matter what, they'll take care of them and they'll look out for them. The hard part is, branching off and being able to treat every team that you're on with that same kind of respect, even if you don't like them. So, yeah, it's tough, but you have to feel it and be authentic.
Well, I love one of the things you shared. We were actually, before we walked in the studio, you were talking about, I think you call it the Green Beret way, is I've got to train someone else. I've got to be in a position to train someone else. And, it's one thing for me to have a big ego and say, hey, I'm the only one that can do this certain job.
Right.
But to be willing to, train someone else and even to check your ego there is, it's paramount. Talk about why it's so important to the team.
Right. So that is, that's what Green Berets do, right? That's we train ourselves out of a job. So like in Afghanistan, we're getting Afghan special operations, from whatever, there's different levels of those, but you're training those guys to shoot, move, communicate, and then you got to take them to war and hope that they are successful in what you taught them. So like you said, at the end of the day, there's no ego there, because it's not look what I could do. It's how well did I train these guys? And the only way I'm going to find out how well I train them is how well they perform under pressure and when the bullets start flying. So yeah, the Green Beret motto, we're force multipliers. And so it's always about somebody else. It's never about you.
Yeah.
It's about helping that other country learn our ways, or it's about, helping them to fend for themselves. But the whole point is that we train you to a point where you could take my job and I don't have to be there anymore. So if I'm holding on to all these nuggets about how great I am and look what I could do, how am I going to get you to the level where you could operate on your own? So I failed my mission because I want to be in the limelight. It just doesn't work.
Man, that is so good. And here's the ironic thing, though. You actually become so much better.
Absolutely.
When you train someone else.
Yeah.
Like whenever you're teaching someone, you are actually the greatest beneficiary in this.
Absolutely.
And your skill level goes up. One of the things that I was so fortunate in just the way I was trained and schooled, and some guys that have spoken in my life. But one of my good friends, Bill, he actually said, is what you're doing, this was business. He goes, is what you're doing today getting you out of what you're doing today? So that whatever I was doing, whether it was prospecting, looking for clients, building my business, whatever, is that getting me out of having to do that again tomorrow? Oh, wow. Even just a little bit.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Like you shared before, it was just like, hey, we got to get 1% better today.
Yeah.
And if I can get 1% out of doing what I'm doing, well, guess what? Just that's a little bit less I'm gonna have to do tomorrow. And if I do the same, it'll multiply, or I can train other people or whatever it may be.
Right.
So.
No, I like that. Compounding interest.
Yeah, compounding interest. Absolutely love that. Well, good, man. Green Beret, Buck, what else? You excited about what's going on?
Oh, there's so many things, man.
Give us a little taste of some of the things that you see coming down the pipe. We got the book that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Got the YouTube channel that's going to be coming out. I know we're going to be working on you teaching me how to shoot as well. Getting out there, a sniper teaching the white belt.
Yeah. Yes, it's crazy because it's like you step away from these linear paths that we've been on for so long. It's like military, get this school, this school, this school, this school. Law enforcement, it's the same thing. Get to this team, do that. And then there's a point where it's like, you know what? I'm done with that. What makes me happy is I want to help people. And that's crazy because now I wake up in the morning as like, well, what do I do? How do I move this forward?
Yeah.
What do I do today that's going to move this all forward? So it's, which a lot of it I learned from you is, how to approach these things. And you just have to put all your feelers out there. We're doing the YouTube. We got the book coming. Scribe's taking the lead on that. They did Goggins' book. So, I have faith that they're going to make it a decent book. Probably not the same writer because he's astronomically expensive, but it's legitimate. And that's part of what I'm excited about is we're putting all the cards on the table. We're really slamming it home, and we're not cutting any corners. And it's absolutely terrifying. And if there's not one thing that I haven't learned in my life, it's that when you're terrified, you're on the brink of something. You know what I mean? I've never, I was so terrified to go to selection. I was so terrified to go to my first team. I was terrified to do all these. When that fear really sets in, you're on the brink of something that's powerful. And I wake up scared shitless every morning because there is so much going on right now.
Well, you know what? I love that you share that because it's so easy for those of us out here that are just Joes and looking at someone who's total badass like you.
Yeah, right.
And to be able to go, man, he doesn't ever get scared. He doesn't ever get nervous. And, I have a 13-year-old boy who plays football, and I coach his football team. And, he was actually mentioning, first game, he's getting a little nervous and everything else. And I said, hey, listen, all those nerves, all that energy that you're feeling right now is just telling you that you're ready. Mm-hmm. And it's just how you think about it.
Yeah.
So the same energy that it would take to be nervous and for him to, fixing his mind that he's nervous, I literally translate it in that just means you're ready. You're just ready to go hit somebody and just channeling that energy there. So, dude, I am so excited about what's going on. I'm excited about the future, where we're going to be able to go, the things we're going to be able to do, people we're going to be able to impact and touch. So give us real quick, because, your Instagram is blowing up. So let's talk a little bit about your Instagram so people can follow you, when they're hearing this as well. And then we'll be doing our own, F&G Instagram. But, talk to us about where people can find you right now.
So BM Customs _ is the name of the Instagram. So it's Better Men Customs, kind of a dedication to the guys that gave their lives. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Better Men Customs was going to be gun modification business, which we're still going to do in the future. I have a good buddy of mine, Tom, that's going to take the lead on that. He's building it up. But for now, we're focusing on the book and, building our following so we could help people. So if you want to, start following me at BM Customs _ that'd be cool. So we can keep in touch and keep you updated on, what projects are coming out and when they're coming out. So
yeah, we'll have some cool stuff coming out. We'll do some swag. We'll go with some branding and everything as well for people to be able to
be all kinds
to get in on it. But hey, guys, I would encourage you, if you are the F&G, the first thing to not being the F&G is you got to recognize you're the F&G.
Absolutely.
And then become a great team player.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Buck. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, F&G, and we're out.
We're out.